right, what's going on, everybody? It's your We Talkin New York podcast, and I'm with Bryan as always. Bryan, how was your weekend, bro? How was Christmas?
Christmas was it was good. I mean, my family is weird, a little obnoxious, kind of Italian, kind of not Italian, so it's a weird mix. But had a good time. Did Santa bring you everything that you looked for this year, Matthew?
Yeah, Santa got me some good things. Shout out to Cam for the Zach Wilson
Why?
jersey. Can't wait
It's gonna
to
be.
wear it to the 0 games I go to.
I can't wait for it to be
um,
on sale in like 3 months for $39.99 when he gets traded.
that's a fair assumption, but it's one of those nice jerseys though. Not even like one of the not one of the ones they wear, just like one of the ones that's like just randomly on the NFL shop
Oh,
that
like the
no
gray
one ever
ones?
seen before. But no, it's like the black that's really cool with like the camel and stuff on it,
Yeah.
and it
That's
has like
cool.
the Jets logo. Yeah, I
That's
really like
cool.
that jersey. Um, got some new headphones, got some new gaming headphones. Shout out to
Yeah.
her for that one as well. But yeah, Santa was very good to me
Yeah.
this year. Was Santa
Santa
good to you, bro?
was pretty. I felt like she was watching me. Jesus, I don't want to. Santa was pretty good. We went for the headphone thing. Target only had pink or like rose gold and regular gold. I don't feel like I am flashy enough for those colors, and so I did have to order them on Amazon. So Santa treated himself this year in regards to those, but that's okay. I got this very nice new chair that I could kind of have full mobility in. Nice back
Range of
support. Yeah, so
motion.
we got that. We got some clothes. This sweatshirt that I'm wearing. Not usually my flavor of the month, but I actually like it because it's like one of those inside out sweatshirts. So like the fuzzy stuff's on the outside, and then
Ah,
the regular materials on the
yeah.
inside, which is nice. Um, yeah, so Santa did good. We'll talk about once we get to the MLB segment. We'll bring up my other Christmas gift once we get there. But let's progress naturally here down the line.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so we hope everyone had a good Merry Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Holidays as well to you. Um, Make sure you're following us on all social medias. We're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at We Talk in New York on everything. That's We Talk in NY to clarify. So yeah, make sure you give us a follow and subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Um, so why don't we get into it right away? What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the Yamamoto news right away since you brought up the
Yeah,
MLB?
let's talk about it. Dodgers signing Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 12 years, 325 million. This brings an end to um, your Christmas wish from last week. This brings an end to the flair for the dramatics on that. He has a home at least for the next 5 years before the first opt out opportunity. Great move by the Yankees, I think. Although, yeah, you know what? I totally wanted the guy, and I totally wanted the Mets to spend a tremendous amount of money. But from a Yankees perspective, I don't see how you could pay Yamamoto more than Garrett Cole, especially coming off the season that Garrett Cole had. I get the market every year. We kind of see a deal or two where we're like, "Yo, what the fuck are this guy? What are these guys thinking?" But I couldn't see the Yankees committing more overall guaranteed money to a guy who's never thrown a pitch in Major League Baseball. Um, so that's kind of my one downside of this whole thing is it happened to be the Dodgers. It could have been the Mets, could have been the Yankees, but somebody was going to throw a tremendous amount of money at somebody who has just the same amount of major league experience as me. Um, so yeah, but good. It's a good signing for the Dodgers. Clearly, they're in a win now position. But at least from a Yankees perspective, I think it's good. You don't pay him more than what your ace makes.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And that report came out too, right? That it said they didn't want to pay Yamamoto more than Garrett Cole, which obviously makes sense. You don't want to do that. He's supposed to be your starter, so you don't want to do that. Um, so yeah, he signed with the Dodgers for 12 years at 325 million. And honestly, I want to talk about the Mets offer because it said that the Dodgers matched what the Mets offer was. But what made him choose the Dodgers, right? If they matched it, then what's the difference? Was it because it's LA, so he's like a little bit closer to home, or is it because just LA is more like, showing that they want to win now, and the Mets really haven't really done much lately? But I was wondering, do you think the Mets offered the 10 years for 325 like you predicted on the last podcast, or did the Dodgers get offer that extra 2 years, the extra, so make it 12 years instead of 10
So the
years? What do
report
you think
was
on
that the
that?
contract offers were the exact same, down to pretty much the opt-out opportunities. I think there were a couple of factors that kind of came into play here. I think Ohtani going to the Dodgers, because keep in mind, right? We mentioned this a couple of times already. So we knew Yamamoto wanted to potentially play with another Japanese superstar. So we had that understanding of he was going to be comfortable going to an organization that had somebody there already that was kind of like the representative of Japan on a major league team. So that included the Mets. It included the Dodgers, right? Just from the jump. I think what separated the Mets and Dodgers primarily was, I mean, I would, and this is nothing against Senga. I love Senga, but I would want to play with Ohtani too. I think if there's ever a guy that has smoothly and as flawlessly made that transition over to the major leagues from Japan, it's been Ohtani. So I totally would want to play with Ohtani. I think the idea of being a shorter flight across, back and forth to Japan played a role. But I think the Dodgers also have,
Hmm.
we talked about this before too. The Mets want to be like the Dodgers. They want to model themselves after the Dodgers. So what do the Dodgers have that the Mets don't? Well, the Dodgers and the Mets have a great farm system. So this isn't a knock on the Mets in that regard, but the Dodgers have a sustainable farm system, meaning a veteran proven superstar can leave like Corey Seager, and pretty seamlessly the Dodgers can then fill that vacancy with somebody else that's going to be very good. The Dodgers have a lot more payroll flexibility than the Mets do, if I'm not mistaken. I know they have a couple of big contracts, but I feel like the Dodgers have been moderate with their aggressiveness on the free agent market, especially recently. But I think the Dodgers have done something that the Mets haven't done, and that's just they've proven that they can win year in and year out. Even if, and again, we talk about my favorite quote all the time, nobody gives a shit unless you win the last game of the year. Yes, but you go to Dodger Stadium, there's that expectation that regardless, they're going to be there at the end of the year, and you don't have that with the Mets. So I think Yamamoto teaming up with Ohtani, having the ability, knowing that they're going to win every single year and they're going to be in it every single year, and also being sold on that consistency and that depth and the idea of, it's a sustainable foundation. The Mets are just trying to build that. I think that was probably what swayed him. And again, the closer flight probably all factored into him wanting to go out to LA.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you with everything you said. Actually, I think the Mets, as of right now, they have not showed that they're trying to compete for this year. And I think you probably heard it like last season. Everyone's like, you kind of figure out what this year is going to be, and then 2025 is the year. Well, you got to also build for 2025 that is including this season. So you need to show these players like Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, whoever else, um, why they should come to your team. This is why we have this player coming up. We have this player that we're signing, and we're probably going to try to trade for this player, like in the middle, not in the middle of the season, but like in the beginning of the season or before the season during training camp. You need to show these players like why they should come to your team, and the Mets are really not doing that right now. Who was the guy they signed yesterday or
Oh,
today?
it
I think it was
was
yesterday, right?
I have it here. I know of him. I don't remember the name offhand because I was sleeping all day. It
Yeah.
was,
Well, that's the clearly you don't remember because
oh
it's
yeah,
not somebody that it's
Chad
intriguing,
Smith.
but who knows?
Yeah, so the one thing I did see about the Mets, um and this is what I'll comment on them too, because I know we can't spend all night on this, but the one thing that is a little bit different from when David Stearns took over this offseason to when Billy Epler took over a few off seasons ago. Epler was super aggressive up front with patching the holes on the major league team. I really like what David Stearns is doing, bringing in depth, bringing guys with high spin rates and high exit velos and guys who overall show, especially the pitchers, that they're good pitchers that may have just run into a little bit of bad luck. He's really building that depth for the upper minor league level that the Mets just haven't had under Epler. And I don't think it was Epler's fault. I just think there was that different expectation of, hey, we really need to win now. Whereas Stearns kind of comes in with the understanding of like, hey, we just kind of, pulled the plug on not only this past half season, but next season as well here. Like, you got to build that depth. So I think really Epler's trying to accumulate depth pieces. I don't think they're obviously necessarily looking for him to, any big additions is welcome, but I don't think they're really looking for them to kind of go out and have an Epler-style offseason. I think they're really looking to build the depth up. But you're right. A lot of these guys, and especially as Met fans, especially under Steve Cohen, we've heard about, this guy's going to spend a lot of money and he's going to pump a lot of capital into the organization. And we've kind of seen it to an extent, but we want to see it on the bigger name guys. We want to see the Otanis and the Bellingers and the Yamamotos, and I don't like Blake Snell. I don't think he's consistent enough. I don't know how he would handle New York, but we want to see some big name players. The Mets aren't doing that right now. I think everyone just kind of has to pump the brakes, be a little tiny bit patient. I mean, I've been patient for 26 years. What's another season? So I think we pump the brakes just a little tiny bit before we call this a David Stearns flop here. But I really think he's just trying to build up the depth that Epler wasn't able to.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you brought up the whole Blake Snell thing, and that's something I wanted to talk about too, because his name has been floated around, whether it's with the Yankees or the Mets. So I guess we could go into a little deeper analysis of that. I don't really hate the idea of Blake Snell coming to either the Mets or the Yankees. I think either team could use him. But at the same time, like you said, how is he going to perform in New York? Is he going to handle the pressure of New York, or is it going to be like another player that just says on the media when he goes to another team that, oh, I hated New York or whatever?
Yeah, so
So
I
what do you think
actually
on that?
want to, and I should have been prepared with this, but I'm clearly not here. I just want to pull up Blake Snell's statistics because I think this kind of just rounds out my point here. So Blake Snell, Jesus Christ, Blake Snell career, he's got a WAR, wins above replacement of 21.1, meaning he's solely responsible for 21.1 wins for all the teams he's been on. He's 71 at 55 with a 3.20 ERA. So that's really not bad overall, right? But you have to keep in mind the dude's been in the league for quite a number of years now. He's been in the league since 2016, so figure that's 16, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, 8 completed years, or whatever it is.
That's not our
Yeah,
strong suit
no,
on this
I don't
podcast.
math. I don't math. So his first year, he went 6-8 with a 3.54 ERA. That is a quality major league pitcher. That's a dude that's going to take the ball between 25 and 30 times for you. He's going to strike out some guys, but really he's just a guy to eat up innings in the middle of your rotation, not an ace. The next year, 5-7 ERA jumps up over 4. Again, still a quality pitcher, but we're not at the $250 million asking price. Third year in the league, 21-5 with a 1.89 ERA. Wins the American League Cy Young. Now, that's a dude you give the $250 million to if he does that consistently leading up to free agency. But then the next year, he digresses again, and he goes to a 4.29 ERA. So this is a guy that's very inconsistent, in my opinion. He goes from either being a mid-rotation guy that you want to give a $75 million over 5 years to, and being a guy that is winning Cy Youngs for you. Like, he won the Cy Young again this year with a 2.25 ERA. So I think he's got the potential to be an ace pitcher, but he hasn't done it consistently enough. And I think if you bring a guy like that into New York, and especially the first year, if he is a 4 ERA pitcher, the fans are going to annihilate him because they want the guy that pitched to the 1.89 ERA. They want the guy that pitched to the 2.25 ERA and won the 2 Cy Youngs. They don't want another number 3 being paid a number 1 amount of money. And so I think this, sorry, not to cut you off. I think this has a lot of David Price written all over it. They're super similar. I just don't think he's worth $200+ million. Don't think he's consistent enough for it.
Yeah, no, I was that. That's what I was gonna say. It was the whether either team, Mets or Yankees, the fans want consistency of their team. They want like the guy that's going out there and he's just gonna pitch either whether it's lights out or not even lights out, but at least something that gets their team to win the baseball game. And I think Blake Snell, I agree with you. I don't think Blake Snell is that guy, but still, I don't think I would not hate having Blake Snell on the Mets or the Yankees at all. But to segue from that, because it's kind of tied into wherever, what do you think? Where do they go from here? Where do the Mets and the Yankees go from here now that Yamamoto is officially and Otani are officially
Well, I
signed to the
think the
Dodgers?
Yankees are now obviously out on the Bellinger market because they don't need that left-handed hitting outfielder anymore. They wanted two, they got three, two of which are probably going to be starters in Soto and Verdugo. Well, obviously Soto. We all know what Juan Soto brings to the table. Trent Grisham, super quality fourth outfielder type. So I think it takes them out of the Bellinger market. I think the Yankees kind of look.
Mhm.
We saw today they traded Esteban Florial for a Cody. Jesus Christ, I'm so fucking underprepared. They traded him to the Indians. Fuck, sorry, I apologize. The Cleveland Guardians for a mid relief pitcher. Again, I the fuck is this guy? Cody Morris. So the Yankees traded Florial for Cody Morris. I think these
Yeah,
are
I
going to
think I
be the
saw
moves
that.
I think you see the Yankees make now because, like we talked about with the Mets a couple of years ago, Epler went hard off the cusp to fix the major league roster. Cashman's done that. At this point, I think now Cashman turns into a David Stearns. He's going to go through and be super specific with what he wants, quality over quantity. I think he's going to create a lot of mid. I think he's going to generate a lot of mid roster acquisitions to kind of round everything out. I wouldn't mind the Yankees going after Matt Chapman to play third base. I know that kind of throws the whole infield for a loop because I know they have LeMahieu and Torres and Rizzo and those other guys, and Stanton's going to get a lot of the DH at bats. But I think the Yankees can acquire somebody that can kind of be a Ben Zobrist, be a revolving door. I know Matt Chapman doesn't do that, but maybe Gleyber Torres can kind of fluctuate around a little bit just to create a little bit more versatility. I think the Yankees would be good to go.
Yeah, no, I think I don't hate the Matt Chapman idea, but at the same time, I really think that the Yankees infield and outfield are fine the way it is. It could use some tune up from because some games, you saw last year, in some games they just could not play defense at all. I remember that one game that they just could not field the ball, and it was bounced
Yeah.
around 8 times at one point. So that was really bad. But yeah, so we'll have to see what the Mets and Yankees do. I think you're right. The Yankees are going to do these little moves to try to help increase either the starting position or the bullpen at least, and just because Yamamoto is now signed, because they were going all in on the Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. So I think we'll have to just see what they do. We have to play it out because we're talking about the Mets and Yankees, and it's December and spring training hasn't even started. Pitchers and catchers haven't reported yet. So as the season gets closer, we'll be able to see what's going on and see who's like on the up and coming to see who's going to start on opening day. But for now, I think that's pretty much good with the Mets Yankees talk and Yamamoto and Otani. But I just want to say a $1 billion for each player is insane. Well,
Combined.
not each player combined for both of those players is insane. That's
A little
crazy.
bit.
So unless you have anything else to comment about the Mets or Yankees, then I guess we can move on.
No, not currently. Before we wrap up, I'll throw something little tiny in there, but we'll get to that at the end. We'll save that big reveal for later.
Oh God, I'm already scared. All right, so we got move on to the Isles and Rangers. The Islanders and Rangers had pretty big weeks. We'll start with the Islanders. They got a big win
Yep.
versus the Oilers, and then they lost to the Caps the next night. They fought back, but then they lost in OT. And guess what? We were talking about it last week. I said when you're in overtime and you have the power play, you got to score, and that's exactly what the Caps did. They scored on the power play, ended the night for the Islanders. This hopeful comeback. And yeah, I thought the Islanders they just looked a little flat, and it was a back to back, so they were tired. I can understand that, but it happens. To move on to their next game, they had a huge win versus the Canes. In my opinion, I thought it was a huge win, only because with just the way that game was, it was just a weird game. The fans were just constantly booing at the refs because something didn't go their way. Oh my god, like it's nothing like crazy. Like the Islanders has been dealing with that since like the high stick. Every Islander fan knows about that. But I actually do want to say I thought the refs were pretty bad. There were some terrible missed calls and terrible like calls. So the NHL officiating has been bad like all year. So nothing really changes for me on that one. Um, so a little more topics with that. That's just kind of your sum up of what happened with the Islanders this week, and now they're on that Christmas break. But the one thing I want to say, Noah Dobson, man, he is sick at hockey. He is just like amazing right now. He's playing everything right. Um, I don't know what happened because people wanted like him off the team last year, and now all of a sudden it's like our godsend. Like he's insane right now, and I'm really happy for him because I remember when he was drafted, I was at the Coliseum draft party when he was drafted that year, and yeah, I didn't really know what he was going to be like, and now I'm glad that I was able to see that moment, and then now seeing him play and just be what he is. And then we have um, Barzell. He's doing pretty well. That Barzell Horvat duo, right? We got there. It's looking like the Leon Draisaitl and the Connor McDavid. Excuse me, Connor McDavid. That duo that was always just lights out every year. They're just insane. But now you got this
Yeah, it's
Barzell
about
Horvat
time. I
duo
think
going up.
we're coming up on a year since that trade, right? I mean, it's within the next couple of months. The Horvat trade that was January,
Yeah.
early February.
Yeah, it was like I think it was like right
Yeah,
before the
so
deadline, like a week before the
so
deadline.
it
So we got like
it
we
took a
got like a month or
year. It
two.
took 11 months, if you want to be politically correct. Jesus, it took a lot. It took time, but I think finally, um, it's really starting to click for those two guys. The Islanders have been rather resurgent, especially since we started doing quick little snippets here and there. They were terrible a couple of weeks ago. Even last week we were talking. They had just had a terrible stretch of hockey, as per the usual. But check today; they're second in the Metro Division standings behind the Rangers. So that makes for some interesting hockey in the New York area. The one thing I will ask you, so we have this guy at work. He comes in, he works with us a couple of days a week. He was saying that in a potential playoff matchup, he would rather the Islanders and the Rangers face each other than the Islanders and the Canes, because the Islanders and the Canes are the same exact team that play in two different states. How do you feel about not necessarily the playoff matchup, but how do you feel about the analogy, if you will, that the Islanders and the Canes are a very, very similar hockey team fundamentally?
You know what? I really don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, it's kind of they. I mean, I guess in some ways they are the same this year, but I mean, the Canes are just like for the last few years they've been like one of the fastest teams in the league. Like all of them, just really good, really fast, and they're able to score. And the goaltending's always been an issue, but like now it's like the goaltending's really an issue, and that's kind of the main problem here because they just find ways to lose games, the Hurricanes. So I don't really know how. I mean, obviously the Islanders just keep blowing leads in the third period, but they kind of figured that out lately in the last week or so. So I don't really know how they could be the same team just in two different states. I mean, I guess I could see it, but not really to the point where I feel the need to elaborate too much on it because it doesn't really it doesn't really make sense to me. I don't really see that. I think they're two different teams, and if anything, the Canes are still like maybe slightly better than the Islanders, but the Islanders completely
Yeah,
outplayed them the other night. So, I went into that game thinking the Islanders were going to win that game. There's no way the Canes would beat us, especially after what happened. So, in the opening, in the first power and penalty. So, I don't really agree with that. I'll just leave it at that. But I will comment about the Islander Ranger thing. I think everybody would agree with this. Everyone wants to see an Islander Ranger playoff series. That would be electric. Both stadiums would be filled, like halfway Islanders and halfway Rangers, and it would just be electric. And unfortunately, who knows when we'll see that? Maybe this year. Maybe this year. We'll have to see what happens with that. But I would rather see Isles Rangers than Canes Islanders because I'm so tired of seeing the Islanders and Canes play each other, especially after last season. That was just brutal, especially how that ended. But seeing the Islanders and Rangers would be almost like a dream come true for most Islander and Ranger fans if you are not stressed about playing the Rangers, or the Islanders, for that sake. I think it would be fun. It would be exciting. It'll be a great way for more casual fans to be even diehard fans, and then even just your fans or like their fans in New York would
Yeah,
just get
the
more
whole thing.
into the game and both teams. I think that would be a really cool thing, and I've been hoping for that since I was like
Yeah.
8 years
Here, I
old. So
actually thought as you were talking and going through that, because I agree. I think um, it would be like that would be like the Stanley Cup for New York. I feel like just energy level that would be incredible. That would be all.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%. It's like
it would be
Subway Series.
ridiculous. Now that I think about, especially because we were
Yeah.
talking about the take from the guy that I work with, which Sebastian Aho would you prefer?
If you ask me like
No, I'm asking you
2 or
right
3 years
now.
ago,
Which one would you take? But then tell me the other one.
okay, but let me. Okay, all right. I would take Sebastian Aho from. Oh man, it's a toughie. But I'm gonna say Sebastian Aho for the Canes, and I feel like other people would agree with me. If you asked me 2 or 3 years ago, obviously I would choose Sebastian Aho from the Canes. But like this year, it's more tough because Aho is not having like his best year. Sebastian Aho of the Carolina Hurricanes is not having his greatest year that he has. But like Sebastian Aho, he got injured. He was having a good year. Our Sebastian Aho. God, this is so annoying. I have to clarify which Sebastian
Ugh,
Aho. It's so
excuse me.
ridiculous. But so yeah, so Sebastian Aho of our team, the Islanders, is having like a pretty decent year, and he's like kind of like a sleeper, but people hate him. But like there's some people out there that really like him, and I kind of agree with those people because Sebastian Aho is actually a pretty good defenseman. Islanders, Sebastian Aho, and he plays really well. But then you have Sebastian Aho on Carolina Hurricanes, who is this superstar there. But you haven't really seen him in the news lately because you have Connor McDavid lighting up the league again. You have Connor Bedard, who's absolutely lighting up the league again. Again, he's in the league for the first time, absolutely lighting up the league in his first debut. He hit the Michigan goal like the other day. Like that's insane. You don't like your rookie year, you're hitting the mission goal. Anyway, to get back on track, there's just so many other things that are going on in the news right now that you don't see his name in the news. But then you see Barzell, you see Horvat in the news now, which is great for publicity. And then obviously you see the Rangers' big names. You got Kreider, you got Zibanejad, you got Panarin, which don't worry, I'm gonna talk about that when we get to the Rangers. So yeah, you're not really seeing Panarin. So I'm gonna change my answer. I'm going to change my answer to Aho for the Islanders because I like what he's doing this year, and I like how well he's come off from the injury that he had and how well he started the season. And I like how bad Sebastian Aho of Carolina Hurricanes is doing because, I'm just so tired of that team. Every Islander fan is they're over that team. I am so tired of Hurricanes, and every time I see the logo, it reminds me
Puke.
of puke. So,
That's so Casey's uncle Dan. I'm gonna refer to him in a couple of minutes here, as we wrap up. That's my not my hot take, but I guess my informational take of the week. I'll talk about him at the end. But if you ever have a conversation with him, or if you ever go to a ball game with him, and say the ump drops, the ump does something dumb. There's a bad play or whatever. He goes, "Who hired you? Who hired you? You puke." So that's a pretty
yeah,
yeah,
he
that's a
texted me
pretty
that.
funny Uncle Dan thing. He calls people pukes, and honestly, I find that quite entertaining. Um, yeah, so
Well, all right. So one more question I want to ask about the Islanders is, and it's kind of a great question to get a little
out
hot
of
take
me
going
or
right
out of
now,
you?
and
Oh Jesus!
out of you. because it's somebody that you like, and you said that you want to
Oh,
do a
Matt Martin,
contract with this person.
300 million over 10.
Do the Islanders bring back? Do the Islanders bring back Martin for Fasching slash or Guccier? Do they bring him back when he's healthy? Well, I think he is healthy. All right. Regardless, do they bring him back and put him on that fourth line and replace
Yes,
like
I
Fasching?
just think that Matt Martin is to the Islanders what say a Brett Gardner was to the Yankees. I mean, he's a dude that, and I know Matt Martin. They went to Toronto, and it was a whole thing. But there was a reason why Matt Martin was reacquired, and it's because the fans love him here. He was drafted here, if I'm correct, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. He was
Yeah,
drafted.
yeah, I
He was
believe so.
developed here. I think that if there was ever a guy, especially on the current roster, that may not be one of the superstar players, might not be one of the well-known players, kind of shows the grit and the determination that you want out of someone in your organization who's not a superstar, high-profile player. And so yeah, I think and it's kind of funny because even I know who Fasching is. I find that quite that's a good thing for us here that I'm finally learning who all these guys are and who plays on where and who does what. But I think you got to make room for him somehow. I don't know what you have to do, whether it's Fasching or whoever else you just mentioned, but yeah, I think you got to bring him back more because of what he represents to the organization and kind of what he's given to the organization and what he can provide going forward from a veteran standpoint and someone who's a little feisty.
Yeah, I realize I completely butchered. I completely butchered his name, so I'm not gonna repeat it again
So I
because I
was
know
saying
I'm
it
gonna
wrong.
fuck it up again.
Is why.
So I'm just gonna say
What is
Fasching,
it?
keep it at Fasching because he's been playing.
What is it?
I'm gonna try it
If you say that, I'll say
again.
Igor's name. If you say that guy's name,
Gautier, I think that's
don't
it.
you?
I don't really know because I don't really hear
There's
his name.
nothing
Gautier.
that's not even similar. You said
What did I
Fasching.
say?
Oh,
No, the other guy
oh,
that's on the
that's what I
line.
thought. I thought the dude's name was Fasching. Yeah, I have no idea who the other guy is. I mean, I'm
No,
not even gonna lie. Cut him. Who gives a fuck?
no, he's. If I could say his name right, if I wasn't an idiot, um, I would be able to say that he's actually pretty good. He is. He's like he's got some speed. So I don't hate the mix between
Trade him.
him and Fashing. Um,
Trade him for
why? They
Igor
just signed him.
Shesterkin.
Yeah, you got
Shesterkin.
that one right.
And then make Shesterkin
Dude, I'm
the
looking at
backup to Sorokin. Actually, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Go Gautier. Gautier. Yeah, okay. So I
Gautier.
had it right. Gautier.
Cartier.
Okay,
Cardi B.
whatever. So yeah, I actually shut up. I actually disagree with you. I don't think we should bring back Martin. Honestly, I love Martin. I love him when I was a
Are
kid.
you
I
looking?
love him now still as a human and as a player. But I think the fourth line is kicking it right now. I think they're doing really good, and I don't think there's a reason to replace Gautier or Fashing. Um, so I think they should just stick with what they're doing. I thought that was a nice little hot take that I saw like on some
Tweet
articles on
that.
Twitter.
It's X.
Um,
You
but
saw it on
I don't think
X.
who cares.
X.
Elon Musk's
Ooh.
ex. Um, so yeah, so don't bring back Martin. Love him, but like I think you keep both those players in there. All right, so to move on, let's move on
Okay.
to the Rangers. They had the Rangers had a big win versus the Leafs. They got in their revenge game. After they lost to them 7-3, they ended up winning the second game.
Sorry, my headphones are
Um,
dying. I was looking for another
so
setting. Go ahead. Continue. Sorry.
so the Rangers, I said like a couple weeks ago, or I don't know if I said in the last podcast, but I said the Rangers
Yes.
defense was struggling a little bit. It looked like they were. They weren't really playing too well, but I think they're back. I think the Rangers defense is playing really well right now. I don't think the fans have anything to worry about right now with that. I think they're playing the way they are designed to play. And, so shout out to the Rangers defense for figuring it out and getting back, because clearly the Islanders cannot do that. I think Igor is back to his saving ways. He's looking pretty stellar right now. At the same time, though, it's like he's not the same Shesterkin he was from the last year or the year before that. That goes for Sorokin too. Sorokin's still not as sharp as he was. We don't have to go too much into that because we did that last week. So make sure you go listen to episode 1 to listen to that about Shesterkin and Sorokin. Yeah, Shesterkin and Sorokin, similar. But yeah, so I think Igor is maybe just a little more back than he was. I want to talk about how Jonathan Quick had an amazing game against the Oilers, and then the Rangers somehow found a way to lose, even though they almost made a comeback at the end. And I don't know if you saw this, but there was somebody had the over 6.5, and the Rangers scored with half a second left to get the
Oh,
over for him. It was trending on
how much
Twitter.
did
It
he
was
win?
pretty crazy. X, excuse me. I don't know. I
I'm
didn't really
guessing it
look
wasn't
that too
you.
much into it, but it was a pretty.
Mm.
No, it was not me. I did not bet the Rangers over. Um, but yeah, no, I thought that was cool. But yeah, they found a way to lose against the Oilers, which I thought was they went into the third period up 1-0, and I was not able to watch the third period, but I watched the highlights and I was like, what happened to them? They just all of a sudden just fell flat, it looked like, and it just didn't really look like they could get anything going. So yeah, I don't know what happened in that game, but Mika Zibanejad has a 7-game point streak going. So shout out to him, good for him. He's getting his points are back. And I want to talk about Panarin a little bit, because Panarin in the last few seasons, you heard it whether it's on the radio or you read it on X or on Instagram pages for NYR fan clubs, you heard that people weren't sure about Panarin anymore, and Islanders fans obviously were chirping about it. But all of a sudden he's figured it out this season. He's having a sick year. He's leading in goals, assists, and points on the team, and I thought he's looking really good right now. And it's good for him to find his way back and be the leader that he's supposed to be on the team, because we all remember when during free agency how that was going with the Islanders and Rangers back and forth with who's going to get him or whatever other team is going to get him. If he's going back to whatever. Um, I think he's having obviously you could tell by the stats, so I'm not gonna say obviously, but he's having just an insane year this year. I think he's just got to keep doing what he's doing, keep playing the way he is, and he's basically the leader of this team. We all thought it was funny as hell that Jacob Trouba got the captaincy. Instead of some of the other guys on that team. But I think Panarin right now is your leader, and Kreider's still being Kreider right now. He's still insane. And like I said before, Mika is finding his points ways back again. So yeah, I think they're kind of the Rangers are kind of back. I said in the last podcast I wasn't sure what they're doing right now, but I think they're back, and I think what we said on the last podcast is still holding right now. The Rangers will win the Metro, and the Islanders will be right behind them, maybe in second. But the Islanders could have that second half collapse. So we'll have to see. To move on, they had the exciting overtime versus Buffalo, and they got the win. That game was honest. I watched that game. That game was insane. I was, it was the energy was crazy. I actually pumped my fist. I can't lie. I pumped my fist when the Rangers scored. As I'm a fan, you
Yeah,
don't
what is
really
wrong
do
with you?
that. But we're oh,
We don't
well,
we don't
I'm a New
talk
York
about
sport guy,
Buffalo
so
at
I
all
gotta.
ever. That's like Canada.
Well,
It's
they're
like
playing the Rangers,
Canada.
so we kind of have
They're
to
like
talk about them
Canada.
now. So should we? So should we just skip
No,
over
I
that game
just no.
because
I mean,
it's Buffalo?
yeah, we out here. We talk in New York, but we don't talk Buffalo. We talk Jersey. We talk about Devils.
That's
No, we don't even do that.
no, we don't
We
even talk the
never
Devils.
we
We'll talk
never
about
talk about
Jack
the
Hughes once in a
Devils.
while, but we can talk about it now. No, I'm just kidding. We're not talking
What
about
it,
the Devils. They are. They are. I will say one thing about the Devils. They are looking red hot right
Fuego.
now. Kind of. They're on the way back up. They're doing well, but that's the only thing I'm going to say about the Devils because I'm tired of seeing them
Damn
in the news.
Devils.
But so yeah, Buffalo. To get back to that game, Buffalo, they really made the Rangers run for their money. I thought the game was pretty evenly played, but I mean, obviously the Rangers just had the upper hand. They look good. and it was an exciting win. And as we are a New York sports podcast is now, I think we had to get a little excited for the Rangers winning that game. And it was a pretty good win. Do you have any comments about the Rangers?
No, I
Anything you
mean the
want to talk about
Rangers
with
are kind
them?
of
I
giving
know
me
you probably have your own opinion.
exactly what I would expect from them. I said this the other day. I truly think that
Yeah,
they are a cup contender. I think they're a good young team. I know they had that reset a couple of years ago. They fired a bunch of coaches and went through the whole turmoil and so on and so forth. But I think the Rangers are going to be a really, really good team the rest of the way. I think they're playing really well. Um, young, fast hockey team. They got Igor Shesterkin in net. I think he's the third best goalie in New York behind Varlamov and the guy from Buffalo. But that's all good, though. I have no idea who
who's
the
the
guy
guy
from
from
Buffalo
Buffalo?
is. That's what you're here for. I was just trying to
Why
make it
would
funny.
their
Yeah,
goaltending
I don't know.
sucks?
I only know one dude from Buffalo, and that's Okposo, right? Okposo. And that's because I saw him play
Yeah,
last year, and I said, "Oh shit, I didn't even know this dude still played." He's like their captain
great.
now. He played
So
in his thousandth
Buffalo,
NHL game. I had no idea the dude even. I thought he like went to like Mexico to play or something. I had no idea.
no, I don't think he went there. I think he's still in Buffalo, but not to talk about that again. I'm gonna talk about that little hot take that my shout out to Wiggles. He sent
What?
me this.
Who's named
I'm gonna
Wiggles? I
his
still
name
don't
is
get it.
we'll
Oh
have we'll have
Jesus!
him on. I'll have him come on and he can
Is he the
introduce
yellow
himself to
Wiggle or
you
like the
as
purple
Wiggles.
Wiggle? I know there's a couple of them.
Dude, he did that for Halloween one year. I forgot what color he did. I think he might have just been all the
Ridiculous.
colors. To be honest with you, he's a funny little Wiggle.
Funny
So
little Wiggle.
to
Oh my god. He's diversified. I love it.
so to quote what he said, hot take, based on the Rangers season so far, Gerard Gallant will never be an NHL head coach again. So that's coming from him. I want to give him credit for that. And I wasn't sure if I really agreed with that. I think Gerard Gallant is still, or Gerard Gallant, whatever how the hell you want to pronounce it, because I know he's gonna yell at me anyway. But I don't really know if I agree with that. I think he's still a great coach, but at the same time, I do agree with that because it kind of like proves that he can go anywhere and he's just another coach. You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't really know if it will be. It depends. It depends. I texted back saying to the Isles, and he was like no. So I don't. I didn't hate the idea of Gerard Gallant coming to the Islanders. Like if they with Blaine Lambert, but like the Islanders are on like a streak right now, so I don't really think that'll even happen. So I don't disagree and I don't really agree, and I'm not really going to comment too much about it because I don't really follow the coaches too much. So um, I'm going to leave it at that. And if people want to comment about that, you can leave it in the comments,
Yeah, I'm not.
or
I'm not educated
tweet
enough to
about it.
talk about this,
So
but I still don't think that the Islanders should have fired Barry
so yeah,
Trotz. I still think the Rangers should have signed Barry Trotz, especially because they were doing their own head coach search at the time, right? So that,
yeah, just like I think so. I think they were 1 year
yeah,
after, or
but
right around that time or something. I don't know.
that's the extent of what I know. I know when we were there, Lampert, whatever his name is, Lane. The fire Lane chants broke out. The fire Lou chants broke out. Should be a different tone tomorrow night. Isles Penguins at home. I have tickets to that one, so we'll see how the atmosphere
Oh,
is
you're
on
going to
that.
it?
But definitely a different hockey team than it was when you and I went a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get a good crowd for that one, and people are home for the holidays, first game back since Christmas break, so I think it'll be exciting. All right, so we can talk basketball a little bit because we kind of have to. I'm just kidding, we want
Yeah,
to. So I want to talk about the Knicks and Nets game that we talked about on the last podcast because we did like a little preview for that. So I watched most of the game, and the Knicks absolutely like dominated 98% of that game. Quickly off the bench was like amazing. He was scoring pretty well. Randall looked good as well. He was really scoring. Um, There was also a little snippet, I think it was from ESPN, that Jalen Brunson is not an 1A player, which I think is a joke because he is. Like he's really good. Like obviously, like you see him on Sports Center and pregame, postgame, whatever. You see him everywhere. This guy he's the real deal, and I hope he's here for as long as some of these other players stay at their respective teams because I love Jalen Brunson. I think he's a great guy. I think I don't know him personally, but like I think he's off the court. He's pretty good, and on the court he's even better. So I disagree with what that take was. That he was not a 1A player. I think that was a ridiculous take, and I think he is a 1A player. So to move on, Mitchell Robinson's out for the season most likely. I don't know if that was confirmed that he is out for the season. Um, the last report I saw that it was likely, and then Isaiah Hartenstein was probably starting at center for him. So I really don't have a comment for that. I think we'll have to see what happens with that and see if the performance goes up or down. But so to talk about their Christmas games, they lost to the Bucks at the Garden, but then they went on to win Game 2, which was pretty exciting. I thought they looked pretty well both games. I thought the first game they were keeping up until like the fourth quarter, and they kind
The
of just
Bucks are a
like
good
gave
team,
out
man.
almost. Yeah, the Bucks are
Yeah.
just a very good team at this point. The Bucks are weird this year, to be honest with you. I don't want to talk about the Bucks too much because they're obviously not a New York sports team, but I mean, they either like dominate or they just struggle. And yeah, you could say that's most teams in the NBA, but like when you're the Bucks and you got Giannis, like I feel like you gotta dominate almost every night. Even if you lose the game, you should still be like outplaying
Yeah,
your
I think they're
opponent. Don't you
still in
think
that
that?
weird phase too of trying to figure out how that system is going to work. Um, Jesus, I'm like a mess right now. Oh my god. I think they're still in a weird phase where they're trying to figure out how that system works. If you remember when the Heat got LeBron, Bosh, and Wade, they were a little streaky too because they dominated and then they'd be really, really bad because they didn't know how to manage that the balance between the superstars. Having Lillard get traded to the Bucks to play with Giannis, um, I'm sure they're still going through some growing pains, but I don't anticipate that being a problem for much longer for them, especially since both dudes are really, really talented, and um, it's just a dominant. That could be a dominant duo for a really long time.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think the Bucks are just really good right now, and that goes for a lot of teams that are in the NBA right now. There's a lot of teams that are just looking really good, really hot, and I think honestly, I think the Knicks are probably one of them because they are they're a fun team to watch. Like it's like the Islanders. They're like the Islanders are a fun team to watch, I guess, when they're not boring. But like the Knicks right now are a fun team to watch, and I would love to go to a game soon because I've really never been to a Knicks game. I'll admit that, but like it's so easy to get to, so I might as well just go. And if the tickets are cheap enough, I'll go to a game this year. And
They are not cheap.
so yeah, I want to go
They're
to a Knicks
very
game this
expensive.
year. But yeah, well, it's the Garden, Dolan. We don't have to go on topic for that. But like, so yeah, they had a pretty decent week. Beating your
Yep.
crosstown rival is always fun. Um, I don't really. I think the game at the Garden, the game 2, like I said, it was exciting. The people that were there for Christmas
Yeah.
Day, they got to go home with a
Yeah, that's
Christmas
cool.
gift.
Tom Thibodeau
Um,
too, head coach.
y-
Thibodeau, I think that's how you pronounce it. Won his
Thibodeau,
146th
I
game,
think.
I believe, as Knicks head coach. That is fifth all time, so he's
Yes,
in the top five. That's pretty legit. You must be doing something right. I remember when they were trying to get him fired a few years ago, because that's what the Knicks do. They just
I do
revolve
remember
through
that.
coaches. But um, I'm glad he's still here, and the Knicks are still trusting him to lead the group, and I think they're going to be rewarded.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think they're going to be competing all the way to the end of the year this year. So we'll have to see with that. We'll keep track of what happens with them during the week. But for right now, that's your news update with them. Don't really have any thing to comment about that. But since we're on the topic of basketball, actually, we got some breaking news. The Pistons just set 27 straight L's. They have lost 27 straight, and that is the longest single season losing
That's
streak in
bad.
NBA history. So, and they just lost to the Nets, 118 to 112. Good news is they covered their spread. and that's what I guess people care about. But yeah, the Pistons are. Oh my god, dude. I mean, I don't know if you want to go into it a little bit. I guess we can just a little bit. But the Pistons, man, I don't know what the hell they do. Honestly, FanDuel is offering like them to not win another game, and just how bad they are. I'm thinking about throwing like $2 on it, bro. That's like $2 to win. I think it was what $2,000 because it was 100,000 plus
Yeah,
100,000.
yikes. That's pretty terrible. Now that you mention it, Jesus Christ, I just shook everything. Yeah, now that you mention it, you just throw $25 in your account for the rest of the year and just bet $1 a game. Just see what happens. I know there's probably more than 25 games left, but you know, put $1 a
Yeah,
game
if you
on
do
it.
like a
What's the
little
worst thing that
ladder,
could
like you
happen?
throw a
Yeah, what's the
dollar just
worst thing
every
that could
game.
happen?
I might start doing that myself.
You get a little coin.
I might start doing that myself. I mean, like the crazy thing is though, they were only like plus 205 tonight against the Nets, and I think the spread was 9.5 at
Yeah,
closing. So it's like sportsbooks are like giving them some favor because I think they're afraid of like the amount of money that people are probably
yeah.
putting on the Pistons. But like I remember when Judge was trying to get that milestone home run last year or the year before that,
22,
whenever the hell it was, um,
22,
62.
22.
He was trying to get.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
62.
but he was trying
Yeah,
to get this ball home run 62. I remember I was just putting like I was adding like $10 to that, and the odds were a lot higher for that. I mean, I guess it's you're more likely to win the game than hit a home run in baseball, but like I don't know, plus 205 seemed kind of low for or
yeah.
whatever low for me. Um, you get, I mean, I guess they're giving respect to the
It's a
Pistons. I
little
mean, it is an
embarrassing
NBA
though.
team, so you kind of have to. But it is
Yeah,
embarrassing to lose 27 straight. I don't know what they do, and I honestly don't really care anymore. I think it's just fun to watch, just
yeah,
watch that
that's
number
bad.
go up. So shout out to the Nets for. I guess we can get
Shout
to
out to
the
the
Nets now.
Pistons as we move
Um,
on to the Nets.
yeah. So the Nets won game one, and now obviously game two of against the Pistons. We obviously cannot watch the game two game right now because we are recording and not playing. But I'm assuming they probably actually, you know what? I was keeping track of the score right before we hopped on here. Um, it looked like it was about like back and forth. Like I'll pull up the probability meter and see how that was, but I'm pretty sure when I was checking, it was like going back and forth a little bit. Yeah, like in the beginning, the Pistons had like a what was that a 52% chance of winning the game, and that was at like the first quarter because they were up 22-8 at that point against the Nets. And then the Nets just like, obviously just turned it on because it's the Pistons. But at like, what was this? At fourth quarter, 7 minutes left, the Pistons had a 64 chance to win. And then the Nets just figured out how to play basketball against the worst team in the league. Um, so yeah, they won game one, and now they obviously won game two. Um, and to go back to the Knicks game that they had, I thought they came out a little flat, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. That they just did not look like they had it. I mean, like I said, the Knicks like dominated that game. I thought Dinwiddie came to play, and like Bridges really didn't at the same time. But now Bridges is like back in the news. I guess. I guess me thinking about it or even writing it down in my notes that he didn't really come to play. I guess he just said, "Let me turn it on for this guy that's barely like on a podcast right now." So I guess he figured it out. The one thing I want to say though, and I've been seeing this all over the internet lately, is Cam Thomas is a superstar in the making. He is so good. He's looking amazing with on that team. I remember last year it was a little bit worried at how he would come up. But he is just looking amazing, and I think he'll be a superstar in this league without a doubt in my mind. And I think the Nets have to hold on to him as long as they possibly can because he's like I said, he's just a superstar in the making right now.
Yeah, the Nets are a young group too.
Yeah, they had. I think the Nets fans, as Nets fans, well, I like the Knicks a little bit more, but that's okay. I like the Nets too, but for Nets fans, I think people just gotta keep calm and just weather the storm right now because better days are ahead. I'm not gonna say probably the better days are ahead, and just be patient as if you were a Mets fan or a Jets fan or a Giants fan or an Islander fan, and that's it. If you're any of those fans, you just know how to be patient, and better days are ahead. Um, but the Nets did lose to the Nuggets, and that game was kind of interesting because it was like they were leading back and forth that game. Um, it looked really, you know, really well played by both teams. Um, but it's the Nuggets. Like the Nets are not. I don't. If you play them 5 times, you'll probably beat them like 2 out of 5 times. Um, which is not bad. That's not bad numbers. I mean, it's if you took it like a 5 game series, you took it to game 5, which is cool. But regardless, I really didn't expect the Nets to win that game. To be honest with you. And then yeah, so that's really all I got for the Nets right now. They just gotta keep rolling and just keep covering their spreads and keep playing their game because eventually it's gonna turn around because right now they're looking hot, they're not looking hot, not looking hot. So like I said about the fans, just keep it patient and don't stress right now. Just keep hoping, I guess. So standings update: the Knicks are currently in sixth in the Eastern Conference, and then the Nets are currently in eighth. So they are fighting; they're still fighting. The Nets and obviously the Knicks are fighting. So that's your standings update with that. I guess we can move on to some football about what happened this weekend and what happened this week. So we'll start with the Jets because they played earlier in this week. So the Jets started with Trevor Simeon, and because Zach was out with a concussion, like we said, that he was probably not going to be out. Not going to be out. He was probably going to be out. Um, and I thought he looked pretty well. I didn't really have
Yeah,
too much to
The
say.
Jets came out on
Um,
fire. 17 points in the first quarter.
yeah,
The defense choked it up a little bit, not to cut you off. Defense looked like shit for the first
yeah,
like
you're good.
well, for the second and third quarter, they looked like shit. Just kind of coughing up that lead. I think they were up 20-0 at one point. But yeah, Simeon really looked like he kind of grabbed that opportunity and ran with it.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah, no, 100%. They looked really good, and then all of a sudden, I went to Christmas Eve dinner, and then they
You
just
shouldn't
like
have done it
lost
yet.
it. Like, I don't know what the hell happened. Probably not. But yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to them. It just was almost like that can't happen. Like you can't have that big of a lead go into the fourth and just lose it like that. Even whether you're in the playoffs or not, like you're still trying to build for next season. So building up wins or even losses, I don't really care unless they were trying to lose for like a better draft pick. But like then you're shaving points. Then you're like it's not good. You don't
Yeah,
want that. Or at least you look like you're shaving points. So like I said though, what I said on the last podcast, the Jets need to just go out and play football and have fun, and that's exactly what they look. That's exactly what it looked like they did, and I'm happy they did that because it was exciting until the very end. Um, so yeah, that I guess that's pretty well for that game. They ended up winning that game on a field goal, a 54-yarder from Greg Zerlon, Greg the Leg. Shout out to him. Um, ended up winning. What was that? 30-27,
30
I
to
think it was, or
27 or 28. Yeah,
yeah,
Sherlock
28,
made
30
33 in a row,
twenty-eight.
33 field goals in a row, 34, 33, 34.
Yeah,
A lot of field
yeah, I
goals
saw that.
consecutively.
A lot of goals with ball going through
Yes.
goals consecutively. Um, so the Jets also announced. Well, I don't know if they announced it. It was really just reporters announcing it that they're going to stick with Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas for next season, which, in my opinion, is a good idea. I think the players that you have on this team right now, you built around them for that coaching staff. Um, I think the play calling has to be better for next year. I love Robert Sala. I think he's a great coach. You know, he's still relatively up and coming as a coach right now, but um, I don't think they should fire him just because of this season. What this season wasn't. I wouldn't say this season was the coaching staff's fault. I think it was just the players itself. Not to put all the blame on the players. Yes, there was some coaching that was the problem, But for now, I think it's a good idea. Stick with the coach. Do you have any
No, I think
thoughts
it's
on
a good
that? What do
move.
you
I don't
think?
think. Yes, I agree with what you said. You can always do better, right? So you can always coach better. You can always play call better. You can always run the actual players better. But I think that you built, and I said this last week too. You built this team around Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not one of those guys that's gonna just blame the Rodgers injury for the Jets shitting the bed. Like Zach Wilson should have been ready. You had plenty of time to learn from him, to learn the offense, to make sure that everything would have been a smooth transition. He did not do that. Although they did play well the first couple of weeks there, but that's besides the point. But I really think that it's not
Mhm.
fair to kind of give Salah the keys to a Ferrari and then cap him at 25 miles an hour. Like, I guess what I'm saying by that is you really need to give him the opportunity to run the team like the team was built. And
Yeah,
having a
no,
healthy Aaron
100%.
Rodgers, hopefully acquiring Mike Evans, like was on my Christmas wish last week, and just really helping out the offense, supplementing the defense. I think the Jets should be in a really good spot going into next year.
Yeah, you brought up the Mike Evans idea. And another thing that came out was Rodgers wants Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones to come to the Jets. So I want to get your thoughts on that because I said I wanted Devontae Adams for the Christmas list thing we did. Um, and I'm happy that he wants Devontae Adams because Devontae Adams getting one reception in the Raiders game against the Chiefs on Christmas Day was I thought was ridiculous. How do you have one of the best receivers in the league getting one reception like in a game against the Kansas City Chiefs at their barn? Like, don't you
Yeah.
want to show them off? So, what do you think about Rodgers wanting Adams and possibly Jones? I'll tell you
Well,
my
I
thoughts
mean,
after I hear yours.
obviously they're boys. They played together for a couple of years in Green Bay. Devontae Adams is one of the best top five wide receivers in the NFL. And I think he's a difference maker. So if that's what is going to get them over the hump, if that's what Rodgers thinks that he needs, I agree with it. I did say last week, although obviously I love Mike Evans. I don't know why I love Mike Evans, but I do. Um, he's a difference maker. So if Devontae Adams is going to be the difference maker, then I'm totally fine with it. I think it's a great move.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I would definitely take Adams and Mike Evans if that could be somehow worked out, which, I doubt it will be. You're going to have to choose one or the other if you can get them either one. Unless it's Joe Douglas, he just pulls out like random stops and maybe he can all of a sudden get
That'd be
both of them
crazy.
at the same time. But I would love Adams and Evans or either one. But you said I don't know why you like Evans. I do too. I kind of know why though. I like how he is as he's like a big receiver. You know, built. I wouldn't say built like a tight end, but like he's just all around a good player. He knows how to get space for himself. He knows how to get in the
Dude,
end zone when
one
he needs to.
the
So
winner. Jets need winners. They need somebody
yeah,
that
no,
knows how to
absolutely.
handle it. They need a guy that's been there before.
Mhm. But the with the Aaron Jones, I don't want Aaron Jones to be honest with you. I said I wanted Dalvin Cook, and obviously we didn't talk about it because we didn't have a podcast. But like, um, Dalvin Cook, I love Dalvin Cook. I loved Dalvin Cook before he got to the Jets, but he's been just god awful this year. And you know what? Like I would say, yeah, trade him for Jones, but even Jones is not that good. Like I have Jones on my fantasy team, and I'm not saying I don't like Jones because of that. I'm saying I don't like Jones because he is so injury prone, and I feel like every time that he is just on the field, it's like an injury waiting to happen. And God forbid you don't want any player to get injured, but like he's just not putting up the numbers that he could. And like he's not doing what he's being paid to do. Like not doing it well at least. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I
Because
mean,
I don't
I'm
really like the idea
I'm a
of
Brees
Aaron
Hall
Jones
guy.
coming here.
I think he's played really, really well.
Yeah,
I would stick with him. I think he's young. I think he's finally healthy, coming off that ACL injury. Um, I would stick with him. I mean, they brought Dalvin Cook in, obviously, as you kind of alluded to before. But the dude really hasn't done very much. I like Brees Hall a lot. I would stick with Brees Hall. Um, and kind of go from there. You need the veteran guys, and you also need the young guys. I think you have Garrett Wilson, which is a great young wide receiver in the league, and Brees Hall. He's proven that when healthy, he can dominate his position. He had 2 touchdowns the other day. I think he could be a legitimate threat for the Jets going forward.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think the I'm gonna butcher his name, but Abikanda. Wow, that was not it. The rookie running back that they have right now that they signed he's doing really good. He played some snaps on the game. Um, I think they should just stick with him and have him come up. Abikanda. I don't even know how to say his name. Let me look up the pronunciation for that. Jets. We have this long awkward pause. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Where the hell is it? Where is he? Oh, what the hell is this glitchy glitch? Ivan Kondo? Ivan Kondo? Whatever. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna have to cut all that out anyway. But so yeah, he's having a good year. I think they should just stick with him. For what he's played, he's having a good year. And I think that was it. Oh, um, little fun stat. Um, the the first quarter in that game, that was the most points they scored in the first quarter
Yeah,
since
dominated.
2014. I don't know if I should be proud or be embarrassed by that. So I'm gonna feel both. So whatever you feel on that one.
Well, I mean, they played really, really well. Obviously, then they shit the bed subsequently with the defense, but I'd be proud of it. They're scoring points. Hopefully, going into next week, they do the same thing and they get a couple of wins here to end out the year.
Yeah. So Jets play Thursday night
Yes.
against the Browns. Um, that'll be a fun game because both teams, I guess, we had
Yeah.
that Hall of Fame game. Um, so yeah, that'll be fun to watch, and Jets get another primetime game. And I honestly love having the Jets on primetime games anyway. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. They almost blew that game because Kobe Brissett had like a stellar game at the end there. Like he just came out and like came in. I mean, and just like took control of that game basically from what I saw. All right, so moving on to the Giants. Did you see that Tommy DeVito's agent
I
apologized for the
can't
pizza stuff?
stand that guy.
What happened?
I have nothing
I
else to
know you
say
can't.
other than I cannot stand him.
All right, well, so he did apologize about what happened, but they also got Tommy Cutlets trademarked,
I
if
do
you can
believe
believe
it.
that.
I'm not surprised by it. I think that he's a dork. I think there's a reason why he was benched. I think he's benched because he's not a good quarterback, and I think he got a lot of luck and was playing with a lot of adrenaline. But I don't think this is a sustainable. This is like um, Jeremy Lin. This is Lin sanity all over again. It's not sustainable in the NFL.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right, and yeah, to go back on that. He was benched for Tyra Taylor, and DeVito just did not have it that game at all. He just didn't seem to be like he was focused. I mean, give and take it was the Eagles, but like,
Thumbs up.
oh, my thumb was up. But I was right. The AI thinks I'm right. So yeah, he had a rough game. He just was not focused at all. Um, well, we'll see. They'll probably start him next week anyway. Well, they haven't. It came out today. They haven't decided if they're gonna start him yet. So we'll have to see later in the week. Um, but for now, it looks like I believe they should probably go with him again, just because why the hell not? And then you can always just bench him like you did this week. I mean, the Giants showed some fight against the Eagles. I have to
It was
admit,
a
like
good
I was
game.
able to watch the game at my family's house. It was a very good game. I thought the Giants really showed some life. Like I said, they put up a fight, and I thought honestly they were going to win that game until Tyrod Taylor just throws it like 50 Cent at first pitch, like at the Mets game, just 10 feet wide from where the receiver was, and threw an interception to end the game. Like I don't know what the hell that pass was. Me and my cousins, we were like, "What the hell was that?" Like that was a terrible throw. Um, and because of that, they were
Well,
eliminated from the
we kind of
playoffs.
knew that was coming.
Yeah, we kind of knew. We said it last week that they were probably not going to make the playoffs, and it's quite unfortunate because kind of hoped that they would. Like they may make a little run here, but it was just improbable. So just a kind of easy projected to do, like to predict basically, that they were going to be eliminated. So that means your whole news of Tommy DeVito taking them to the
Yep.
playoffs is finally over. Thank God. Speaking of over, I was really pissed off that Yamamoto signed the next day. I posted that
Yep.
that
I think that's
TikTok and
why he
reel.
saw it and he was like, "Shit, I gotta sign."
He
He was
probably
like, "This
did.
is
He
why
probably
I don't
saw
want
it
to
on
come to New
TikTok and
York.
was
Fuck
like,
you."
it probably
Literally
is the reason why he saw my TikTok, not my
hours.
TikTok,
Yeah, I
our
was there.
TikTok, and yeah, he saw her TikTok and was like, "Oh shit! Like this random guy from Long Island's got is telling me to
Yeah,
sign
let me
somewhere.
go.
All right, let me just take $325 million for 12
Yeah, let
years
me
to
go
play
play
with the Los Angeles
3,000 miles away
Dodgers."
from where that guy actually lives. But your fault.
Yeah, like he is. Yeah, well,
Yeah, it was your fault.
sorry, Mets and Yankees
Your
fans. It's
fault.
all my fault apparently. That this pitcher that had never pitched in America,
Didn't choose here.
you know, we have no idea how he pitches. Didn't choose New York. So yeah, that really pissed me off. That's what really grinded
Yeah,
my
amen.
gears, I guess you could say. But all right. So what do we got upcoming for the week? You said the
Penguins
Islanders
tomorrow night,
play
7:30, UBS
tomorrow
Arena.
night. Yep. So you said you're
I
gonna be
will
in
be.
attendance for that. The Rangers play the Capitals tomorrow night at home, and then on Friday they play the Panthers. Um, and then on Saturday they play the Lightning, and both those games are away, except for the one at home. And then they play the Hurricanes on Tuesday, but we'll
Yep.
be recording before that. Um, so let's see what the Islanders got coming up. Like you said, Penguins tomorrow night. Um, and then I believe they have a game on Thursday. No, they don't have a game on
Oh,
Thursday
Thursday.
unless they're
Thursday is the
away.
game. I'm sorry. That's my fault. No, it's tomorrow, the 27th.
No, tomorrow. Yeah, the Islanders playing Penguins tomorrow. Then they play the Caps, and then they play the Penguins again on Sunday. Um,
Nice.
and then yeah, so that's that week for the Islanders. Um, we talked about the Knicks, so the Knicks have a game tomorrow against the Thunder, which I guess we can talk about that a little bit. That game is gonna be fun because the Thunder are fun to watch. Um, and obviously the Knicks are too. So I'm kind of excited to see how that's going to go. And then you got the Magic who are also good, and then you got the Pacers on Saturday. So that's Friday, Saturday to just double back on that. Um, so that's going to be this is a test for the Knicks, I would say. They got a little bit of a test here with the Thunder, Magic, and Pacers because the Pacers are like sneaky. They're really sneaky, and then the Magic are having a pretty good year this year. So I think this is gonna be a little bit of a test for the Knicks, and we'll see how they come out with that. I think they just gotta just play their game and be who they be the team that they are, and just play. And like
Amen.
I said, play their game. Um, amen. The Nets got the Bucks tomorrow, so oh god, that's gonna be scary. And then on Friday they got the Wizards, and then on Sunday they got the Thunder. So we'll see. Maybe the Nets can make a little bit of upset against the Bucks because, like we said, the Bucks have been either hit or miss with some games, and then the Wizards are terrible. So hopefully the Nets can just go out and put a beat down on them. And like we said with the Thunder, the Thunder are fun to watch, so that's going to be a fun, interesting game too to watch. Okay. I think we hit every team. Nope, we missed the Giants. Who are the Giants playing this week? They're playing the
So the
Rams on
Rams will
Sunday.
win that game.
Yeah, I don't know because the Rams are interesting too. They're a little questionable, I guess. You either get their good squad or you get their bad squad. So, and by bad squad and good squad, it's literally the same squad. So It depends, and you know what you're gonna get from the Giants. So the Giants just have to come out and play football and have fun. Like that's my motto for the rest of the season for New York football. Come out, play football, have fun. And then, like we said, the Jets play the Browns on Thursday night. So fun week to keep up with. We still have the rest of the week with news coming out with whether it's players signing places and teams, coaching updates and all the other fun stuff that comes throughout the weeks. Um, if anything, major pops up, we'll be posting it to our social medias at We Talkin NY on X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Make sure you guys follow us on that. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Hopefully, you're watching us on YouTube right now. If not, then you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple. We are all on Amazon Music. We are on iHeartRadio. Dude, we're on a lot of things. So we hope that you guys are listening to us on one of those. If you're not watching us on YouTube, I think we're pretty much done here with that. Unless you have any
I don't
final
have any
comments with
final
that.
comments other than I apologize again for being a little sick this week. Next week I'll do better. I will.
Please do better. No, I'm just kidding. Get better, Bryan. I want to give a shout out to. Apparently, I had to give a shout out for some reason, but shout out to the St. John's Johnnies. I don't know why I had to do that. But realistically, St. John's Red Storm. They're having a good year. My buddy told me to give him
Shout
a
out
little
to
bit
you
of a
guys.
shout out. So there you
Good
go.
job.
That's Bryan. That's Thomas over there. He's a big St. John's guy. So shout out to them. They're having a little bit of a good year. They almost beat UConn the other night. I remember seeing that. They beat Xavier. Xavier's having a tough year. So yeah, some good big conference wins, and then they got the other team of New York. They got the Hofstra Pride.
I zoned
They
out
got
on
the
that
Hofstra Pride, baby.
Oops.
Yeah, so St. John's will be playing Hofstra Pride. They're also having a great year, so I'm excited because me and him are gonna be in the building for that game as well. I'll be in the Islander game on Friday night as well. So yeah, that's your shout out, Thomas. I hope you enjoyed your little St. John's shout out. They suck anyway. All right, so yeah, if you don't got anything else, I think this was a good stopping point right here until next week.
Sounds good.
I guess that's your thumbs up. Okay, he's doing the smile only boys again. All right, everyone else have a great week. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night, New York.
DS.
Thank you for remaining here.